Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 20th of November. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, what did we get yesterday? Well, we didn't get the retest of the low in RTH, and that does put something of a question mark over the low we've made here, but we do have a little double bottom here, which is broken up. We're struggling to get over the weekly pivot, but if it makes it over the weekly pivot, then that would have a target in about the 6,000 area and may well deliver us a retest of the all-time high. We will see. But as I said, it wasn't quite the low I was hoping for. We made a lower low on NQ as well. I haven't marked in the arrows, but we've got a nice looking double bottom that's broken up there. We've got a target for that at about the 21,100 area. And again, that might be taking us back into the high, but it was a little more uncertain because we didn't make the full retest. On RTY, we had two failed buy signals and then another one, actually. Sorry, I haven't marked that in, which is close to the possible near miss target. But I wouldn't be that surprised to see it fail again. No bottoming pattern here. YM, no bottoming pattern. No buy signal, but we did make the head and shoulder target, which I was saying I thought we were likely to make, and we have made it. DAX and ESDX still kicking around near their lows of the last couple of weeks. We will see how it goes. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. On ES, no current divergence, obviously, but obviously we are holding the daily middle band. So there's 1, 2, 3 days, all of which we've held the daily middle band. We may well come back off it and go back into a retest of the high. In fact, arguably, that is the obvious thing to do. How does it look on SPX? Well, currently it kind of looks like a flag. So it isn't necessarily a flag, and I have to say that top trend line isn't a 3-touch trend line, it's only a 2-touch trend line, so this may just be a rather unfortunately shaped double bottom. But it kind of looks like a flag at the moment, and I'm leaning towards the possibility that it might be a flag. Buy signal made target. On the hourly chart, we never got the lower lows, so we never got the divergence. So we don't have any hourly buy signal here. On the daily chart on SPX, again, 3 holds of the daily middle band, solid. So this is this kind of setup where we will often go back up and retest the high. Looking at the Qs, Qs are back over the daily middle band yesterday. We had a close below it, then we had a close on it, then we had a close back above it. This isn't any kind of conviction break of the lower band. I am still wondering about a possible test of this trend line here, which you can see hasn't quite been tested. No divergence on the hourly chart, and you can see we were well short of testing the bottom yesterday, so we don't have a bottoming pattern, and this one also looks kind of like a flag. It doesn't necessarily have to be a flag, but obviously it looking like one is a concern because it might actually turn out to be one. If we fail to get over the weekly pivot today, then we may therefore return to do a retest of these lows in RTH, and we will see how that goes. On Dia, nice test of the daily middle band, nice hold of the daily middle band so far. Nothing really to suggest we're going to go any lower. Obviously, the initial head and shoulders is long since been made. We're back in the, we didn't break any of our breakaway gap supports that I've been looking at. And this buy signal here, it fell. So at the lows yesterday. All right, let's have a look at the IWM chart. IWM, we have on the daily chart, we had a test of the lower band, and we had basically an open below it, and then a very nice move up off it. So that is a pretty solid hold. On the hourly chart, we got an RSI 14 buy signal here, and the RSI 5 buy signal has pretty much made target, but the RSI 14 one has not. But that's the only hourly buy signal really that we've got. On the IWM chart, we've got on the 15-minute, we've got an RSI 14 buy signal fixed, and that's reached the possible near miss target now. Not a lot of signals. Possibility of seeing a pullback early today to form a right shoulder here, which could give us a decent pattern, but really not a lot of patterns because we didn't do what I was hoping we would do yesterday, which is retest the lows in RTH. We will see how it goes today. All right, DAX. DAX is still below the daily middle band, but thinking about it. And Nikkei, still a possible topping pattern here. Now, there is something I wanted to say about equities. Next year is going to be a turbulent year. And it's not going to be a turbulent year because, of long-standing troubles and so on. It's going to be a turbulent year because we have a revolutionary government coming into the US, and it's pretty obvious from their appointments that they're planning to be a revolutionary government. Revolutionary governments are uncomfortable, and they upset the settled order of things, which needs to be upset every so often. But it is likely to be turbulent in multiple markets. We could have a bond crisis next year. If borrowing plans are as they were on the campaign trail, then we're probably going to have a bond crisis next year. Probably at least 50% odds of that. That may derail the government's course and just steer it in a slightly more prudent direction, or it could cause a serious problem, major devaluation in the dollar, possible loss of the dollar's status as the main reserve currency. This could be a very, very turbulent year indeed. So be aware of that. If we go back and retest highs, I will be looking for potential highs in Jan, Feb, and later in the year. I would say it's probably coming up to even odds that next year will close down. And that it will be a very spiky year on the markets. We'll see how it goes. I mean, at the moment, it's just an impression. The new government's not in. They're just appointing people. But there's all sorts of indications that they are planning to follow through on what they're talking about on the campaign trail. And just in Europe, because obviously I live in Europe, but just in Europe, I think if the new administration tries to make a deal with Putin, I think it might be coming up to even odds that USA actually leaves NATO next year. And that could be an interesting thing. And certainly, but it's an upending of the existing world order. And to be honest, in many respects, the existing world order sucks, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it isn't necessarily going to be a comfortable thing either. So watch out. All right, okay, just having said that, DX looks like a flag, and I think that flag might be breaking up towards a retest of this high. If we're going to see a lot of turbulence on the dollar, I would note the possibility that we could go back to retest 116, and that when we do, that could be the second high of a double top, which could be followed by a major decline in the dollar next year. That could be really interesting and potentially very profitable. ZB. Not really been doing anything. We are breaking up slightly from the TNX flag. If we follow through on that, that would be down. And the target would be realistically in the 104, 105 area. On CL, we've got a possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing. It's nothing particularly strong, but we're trying to break up from this double bottom at the moment. If it succeeds, we've got a target in about 71.6, 72 area. If it fails, then we're going to go straight back to these lows here in the 66.5 area, and we still have an open target in the 63.57 area. NG, I'm wondering about a flag here, but remember, of course, that we're about to switch into NG January. In fact, I think it may have already switched into NG January. That means that on NG January, of course, it means on the index, we're going to be going up 25 cents, which is going to be interesting. So on here, that doesn't mean necessarily we're retesting this high here. I haven't looked at the February chart here, but if the volume is now over into January, which I thought it might be, then I'm probably going to switch today, and we'll be looking at the January charts tomorrow. And GC, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. It's trying to break up over the resistance area here at 26.25. It looks as though it might be converting it, but it could just be topping out. SI, 60-minute sell signal has reached the possible near miss target. Looks like a flag setting up a retest of this high here in the 31.65 area. HG, this looks like a bear flag for me. And I'm leaning towards it being one. All right, KC. We've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, maybe topping out here. This might be an incredibly ugly head and shoulder pattern, but it would be cleaner if we're going to do a larger retracement to do a retest first and then break down and double top. SB is trying to get over the monthly pivot, and I've got the trendline resistance at about the 22.7 area at the moment. Waiting to see if it breaks up, which it's been threatening to do for a very long time. Then I'd be looking for a retest of this high here in about the 23.4 area. On CC, retesting this high, not quite retested it, but retesting at the moment. 60-minute sell signal fix. I'm wondering about a larger retracement here. ZW, no current divergence over the weekly pivot, but not much else to say. We could be forming a bull flag here and about to turn down for wave C, or starting to turn down. What I would say is that we had a head and shoulders here, and that head and shoulders has failed with a target up at 435. And if this is a bull flag, of course, then sooner or later it's going to end up at 435 anyway, or likely to. Soy coming back into these lows, still wondering about a retest lower. Cotton. Possible low here, 60-minute buy signal has reached possible no miss target now. Waiting to see if we form an IHS, which we could do at this current level here. We'll see. Lumber. Lumber looks like it is coming back up into a retest this high. Old 60-minute sell signal fix, but at this stage it's so old I'm not really taking a lot of notice of it. Live cattle breaking back over the monthly pivot. Looks like it's heading back up into a retest from this flag, which was messy, but is delivering so far. And lean hogs, possible double bottom setting up here. This could break up over the weekly pivot, could get us back up into the 85.625 area. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions, of which we have none at the moment, and we'll see. Okay, yesterday we've got a possible low, but it wasn't a good low. It's very possible we're going to come back and retest that in RTH today, and need to be aware of that possibility. The area we're fighting over here is the weekly pivot. If that can be converted properly, then we've got targets higher, and on ES that target would be at about the 6,000 to 6,010 area, but might well be taking us back up into a retest of the high. Nice looking double bottom on NQ, but again nothing. Looks like a bear flag on NDX. So we've got a dissonance here between the futures and the RTH chance. That does not need to be resolved necessarily, but it might be resolved. And I wouldn't be that surprised if it was. We shall see how it goes. Am I thinking retouch the low comes after NVIDIA tonight? I don't know. Really, I'd rather say it before. NVIDIA has been surprising to the upside pretty regularly for a long time now. I was thinking, actually, ideally, we'd go back and retest the lows today, and then NVIDIA would carry it up into the all-time high retests. That would be ideal, I think. If NVIDIA disappoints, which I wouldn't be betting on, honestly, then I wouldn't be. Then we could see significantly lower after that. But NVIDIA doesn't seem to disappoint too often. We'll see. If we are going to retest this, I'd be really expecting it to happen today. NVIDIA is a wild card, which is probably going to resolve to the bull side, I think. But we will see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap, guys. I'll have everything posted as soon as possible, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.